Hey everyone, Pooja Chilukuri with Pooja Chilukuri Nutrition and Health, and your host for the Wellness Education Series Be Made Whole. Today I have with me Dorena Kohrs. Dorena is a certified practitioner of Feng Shui and space clearing. She is a modern day Sherlock Holmes. The mysteries she solves, however, are of the energetic kind, involving homes and workspaces of her mostly female entrepreneurial clients. Best known as the Space Doula, Dorena geeks out on sleuthing the root causes of whatever's keeping her clients from living their dreams. Her tips and strategies on how to use the energy of a home or workspace to change the patterns that show up in life have been featured in the Simply Spaced blog, as well as on podcasts including the Brodie Welch Show, Blog Talk Radio, the Breaking Free Show, and Hay House Radio. Welcome, Dorena. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I mean, before I met you, I had no idea. I know that there's patterns that keep showing up in our lives, but I had no idea that there was ever a connection between that and the space I live in and work in. So I know you're really passionate about this. I'm just curious as to why you got started on this and how. Can you share with us your journey a little bit?
Yeah, and I am super passionate about it. It's if we think about it, it makes sense because we're in our homes, we're in our spaces, and our energy, we do things in such a pattern and such a things that feel familiar. So we place things around us that feel familiar to us, and so that's kind of how I always say it's a symbiotic relationship between us and our homes. It's like an umbilical cord that we have attached to us. But how I got to doing the feng shui and the space clearing is I started years ago in the decorating business. And when my partner moved away, it was something I didn't want to do by myself anymore. And she said, "Oh, you should be a professional organizer." And I was like, yeah, it's the thing I do so intuitively, so naturally that I've done my entire life. So I literally hung up my shingle that said breathing room professional organizing, and I started organizing people's homes. And I quickly got frustrated because I kept wanting for people to let go of things, and I couldn't find a way to help them let go. I couldn't find a way to get past their resistance. So from there, I became a certified clutter clearing coach, and I worked on talking to people. And I'm going to apologize because I think my dog's going to bark in a minute.
Okay.
This is what happens working from our homes now, right?
It's totally fine. Yes.
It's not the same anymore. So I became a certified clutter clearing coach, and I had more tools at my disposal for helping people let go of things. But then I went back to, I was introduced back to Feng Shui, which I had studied probably 10, 15 years ago. And I studied it more deeply this time. And when I looked at, in Feng Shui, we have what's called the Bagua Map. And it's a map that we overlay on our home, like our floor plan. And it shows for every area of our home relates to an area of our life. And when I did this for my own home, I was like, oh my gosh, it was like seeing my subconscious. Like I could all of a sudden understand that when there was clutter in my wealth area, that related to poverty consciousness that got passed down from past generations. So like I could all of a sudden see the patterns when I used the Bagua Map. So that's how I got into more the energetic side, because it literally gave me a tool to help see what I couldn't see previously.
That's really a very interesting journey, Dorena, because before I even talk with you, just intuitively, I've been in a classroom for 3 years with little toddlers, and we teachers would just sort of change the room from time to time because we just knew that affects their behavior. But now that after I talk to you, I think, well, maybe we were shifting the energy too, when we're changing and switching the objects around and things like that. Also, I feel like what you're doing is so important for mental well-being because we tend to cling to patterns even if they are unhealthy for us, even if they're affecting us negatively, because you're right, there's that resistance that comes up. So to really dig deep and try to identify, is that some of the work that you do? Can you educate us a little?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's again, there's a familiarity with things, and sometimes we live with things because the change feels harder. And
Mhm.
or, like I often think about, like if your back hurts, you get used to having like chronic back pain, right? You just live with it and you don't know what it feels like not to have that. You don't know what it feels like not to feel bloated after you eat, or you just like, that's just me, right? That's what, and you get used to it, and then all of a sudden you do some stuff nutritionally, or you go to the chiropractor, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, I was out of balance, and we don't realize that. So that's kind of what happens in our home, and we're so familiar with it, just like our bodies. We become so familiar with it that when we look around, we don't see the blockages because we just walk right past it. And especially as women, as moms, as we have our plate really full, so we just
Mhm.
get used to things being in a certain way, until a lot of times I'll come in and I'll look at it, and then I'll start asking questions, and then it's like, oh wow, I didn't realize. But it's like seeing your home through another perspective, through another pair of glasses, and
An
then it's like,
unbiased one, right?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
because you don't have the biases that we're going to hold on to. Absolutely.
Hmm.
And so when you start shifting the energy in different spaces in the home, you expect that to show up in your life, right? Like somewhere. So, like the Bagua Map, I know a lot of people that are listening or watching may not know what that is. Can you tell us what
Hmm.
that is? Yeah.
Yeah, so the Bagua map is the energy map, and it's literally if you drew a tic-tac-toe board. So it's divided into 9 boxes, and each one of those boxes is an area of our life. And then you lay that map over your home, and you orient it off your front door. So if you're standing at your front door and you're looking at your Bagua map, you'll see that the back left corner happens to be related to your wealth. The back right corner happens to be your relationships. So I realize that not we don't all have homes that are square, and divided it into 9 equal boxes. So there's some intuitive piece to that, and that's kind of where I come in and help people figure that out. But when you can see what area it's related to, there are so many ahas. It's just like, oh, and then when we start making the changes, that's where some really cool stuff starts happening and starts shifting for people.
I remember taking one of your classes on Facebook that you are so kind and offer up for free. It's in your Facebook private group. And the
Uh-huh.
first class I took, I had no idea what I was doing because all this stuff was like extremely new for me, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I was just going through my house and just trying to figure out from the Bagua map. Well, I don't know if I did anything right, but you know what it did for me though? It just lifted my awareness that I hadn't made any changes in like 15 years to many
Mm-hmm.
of the things. Like things were just status quo, just sitting there. I have moved on in life. We've been through many changes as a family, but the stuff was still the same.
Yes.
So it helped me to shift things. I just took things from one place and actually put it in another. It was really simple, but it really, really helped. And I realized I had a better mood when I was in the kitchen, so because I had moved some things around. So that's, just when I'm starting, I have no clue what I'm doing. But even just the awareness was so helpful, Doreen.
Yeah, it's, a lot of times what I talk about is that we are on these personal journeys, and kind of I talk about it in terms of a spiral, and we're spiraling up higher and higher in our consciousness and in our personal development. We're not who we were when we were 20, right? Or even 30. Like we're different. But yet so many times our house looks exactly the same as it did
Hmm.
20 years ago.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so there's a like constant shifting that we can look at so that it matches, so our home matches how we feel, like
Yes.
the
Because
two are
I finally get that it feeds off of each other, right? So we're
mm-hmm,
feeding off of it. And so that is important. I really, really think so. I had never explored this. I know I'm a health coach and I'm always looking at people's physical health, right? but there is so much stuff that goes on emotionally that if we don't address that, it's hard to heal the body, without addressing all of the pieces. So I
Mm-hmm.
really, really have fallen in love with what you do, and I highly encourage anybody that is listening or viewing this. Dorena has a really wonderful private Facebook group, and it's called Home Base,
Uh-huh.
right? And so
Yes.
I will include the link to that in the comments and in the show notes so people can find you. Is that the best way to find you, Dorena?
That's a great place. Yeah. So I'm on Facebook under Space Doula, but then from there you can join the private group, which is a free group and a very interactive, fun group. And then so I have challenges from time to time, and I advertise different classes. Sometimes it's like just a one class or a series of classes. So
Okay.
all
So
the information's always in there.
So whatever you're doing, I'm going to be happy to post all the links so people can find you, that we can find you. And do you have like one thing that you suggest that we can do, a simple practice, something that we can do to maintain the positive energy flow in our homes? It could be like a little challenge that you give us.
Yeah. So one of the things in Feng Shui is that our front door is the mouth of Qi, and Qi is energy. So our front door, like our mouth, like our actual mouth, is where we feed ourselves, where the energy comes in. So a lot of times we don't use our front doors. We pull into our garage. We go in through our garage door. I have clients whose garage is in the back of the house, so they come in the back door, but we don't always routinely use our front door. So I would challenge you, as a matter of practice, to begin opening your door. So if you use it regularly, that's wonderful. If you don't, then try to incorporate it into your morning ritual. So maybe you come downstairs or you come out from your bedroom and you open the door and you greet the day and welcome possibilities in. Just think about like, oh, I'm going to welcome this fresh new energy of the day into my home, and I'm going to open myself to possibilities. So whatever feels good to you, but to open that door, let some fresh air in, I think would just really make a great
Big
difference.
difference. I never do it, Dorena. I never open that front door. It's very rare, very rare. If somebody knocks or rings the doorbell, I mean, that's the only time I think about it. So this is a good little practice. And I think, and I've heard you say this before, and like opening the blinds too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be a nice little. So if somebody wanted to work with you, how do you do that? Is the first thing that you work with the Bagua Map, and then you help them shift based on like what they want to see
Mm-hmm.
happen?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways. One, for my private clients, the way that they typically come in is either they start with a personalized Bagua session, which is you draw out your floor plan just on a piece of paper. You sketch out your floor plan and you send it to me. Or if you have an architectural rendering, you send that to me. And I figure out the Bagua map for you. I figure out where those 9 little boxes go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I record a video and I walk you through your own home, because my relationship area, although the relationship area is always the back right, that might be for me, my living room. For you, maybe it's your kitchen. It's going to be different for everybody depending
Mm-hmm.
upon your layout. So I record a video and literally walk you through your home, telling you what area relates to each area of your house. So that's one. That just will give you the awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, most of my clients do what's called a house whispering session. Many people just start there. And that's just an amazing 2-hour session where we get together and we talk about, where are you feeling stuck? Where do you want to expand? Like where do you want to amplify your life?
Yeah.
And then I look in your home and I see what changes we can make to actually help you along that path to feeling more expansive.
That is wonderful, Dorena. I could talk to you forever, but I know I have to end it so that it's a short, nice video. But I hope that sometime I can have you come back and talk more about this. This was
Yeah,
very
I would love
good.
to. I would love to.
Thank you so much.
All
Thank
right.
you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Pooja.
Yes, and thank you, everybody, for watching.